Hello, you modeling people. Why am I talking to you? Because you are the ones being advertised to from makers of the FRFR persuasion. FRFR stands for letters. That means full range, flat response. Technically meaning, here's a speaker that gives you loud and doesn't change what's being pumped into it at all. So pretty much a PA speaker, but the FRFR people, might they be, I don't know, Mission Engineering, Line 6 with their power cab, Harley Benton with their FRFR speakers, a Kemper has a Kemper speaker, and unless I don't know the specs of these well, they are pretty much just PA speakers in the guise or disguise of a guitar cab. Now, guitar cabs have a problem, if you ask me. They feed your feet. They are usually, unless they're an angled speaker, addressing your legs. Therefore, all the high-end information is kind of being lost, bumps off somewhere, then goes to your ears. It's not ideal. Why, would we ask, do we have these angled speakers on stage? We have those because they blast directly at us. Therefore, we don't need as much volume. We hear the high-end information much more clearly because high-end is directional. So, bottom line, FRFR speakers, if you ask me, and that is a fully biased opinion, are total bullshit. It's to make you understand or think, oh, I'm buying something specifically, that's how you say that, for guitar. When in reality, it's just a kind of rehoused PA speaker, usually with a lower and a higher part, you know, a horn for the high-end information, because your Kemper, your Axe-Fx, your Hot Tone, your Moore, your Line 6 Helix, your any of these is literally pumping speaker-simulated signals, that's why you have the IRs and all that, into those, and what comes out simply just needs to be a loud version, full range, flat response, nothing has changed, of that signal to you. Now, the Harley Benton and the Line 6, they have built-in speaker simulations, which I think is completely ridiculous. You're paying for it, I'm sorry. And on the Harley Benton, yeah, if you wanted to, you could run your board into it and then... Okay, and it only has 2 of them or 3 simulations and that's fine. On the Line 6, there's a full menu and all that stuff. Why? If you're using that with Line 6 hardware or other hardware that has impulse responses, why should your cab have impulse responses? Now, there's something to be said for the Line 6 speakers. I had them here. And you can run XLR into them and then XLR out of them to the front of house, which is important because otherwise you're losing your output on your modeler. So it's very important that the speaker you have actually has a chain through so that you go into the speaker, you can hear it, but also you can grab that signal to the front of house in case your modeler only has one set of outputs. Now, the Helix has XLR and 1/4 inch, which is fine. Does it? It does. So you can, of course, pick and choose where you're going. But you're already seeing it on the floor. Does it look like an FRFR speaker? It is FRFR. It is flat range, full response, flat range. Flat range, full response. I don't know which one comes first because both of them use the same letters. But realistically, you could just use a normal floor monitor if it's a good quality floor monitor. Now, there's this company that apparently runs several companies under one roof. So it looks like this is kind of a totally unbiased review, which it is because it's me. But actually, all the speakers are coming kind of from the same source. But when they asked me, can you make a review of these? I didn't just want to look at the highest range speakers. First of all, I wanted to have a little bit of a reference, so I waited for over a year because I had the Line 6 here. I reviewed the FRFR from Harley Benton, so now I have kind of a reference. The Line 6, I have to say, the power caps, I did not review. And I'm sorry, Line 6, we had this conversation, but now I'm making a video, now I have to talk about it for a second. No corners, Some of them even came with the toe legs completely ripped off already on the corners. They are not meant for live. I'm sorry. They're all nice and rounded and they look cool, but they're completely unprotected. They are rather high priced and they sounded really bad. They sounded dull. It was mushy. There was no differentiation between the strings. And I'm sorry, but they weren't good speakers. Also, their speaker, they went on my legs. What's the point? So, now I have actual wedges here, floor wedges. Makes a lot more sense. We're going to start by looking at the cheapest one from ANT, or ANT. It's the ASM10. Clocks in it, I have Thomann here. I don't have their specs. I have the Thomann specs, so I have street pricing. €269. That's affordable if you have some kind of modeler, you want to make it loud, you don't want to carry much. Look at this thing. That's not big. I mean, this is as small as this is a 10. As a 10-inch speaker can get. It's got a 10-inch speaker. It's got a 1-inch tweeter, 400 watt peak. So the average is less than that, I guess. And if we look at it, it's got XLR and quarter-inch combo. It's got an XLR out, which is important, again, to the front of house. Level control, you can switch between mic and line. Mic on all of these, of course, will very likely only be a dynamic mic because none of them have phantom power. So if you quickly need to run a mic into it to do an announcement or whatever, get an SM58, you could do that. It has a 35mm Boxenflange, is, as we say in Hessen here, a Boxenflange. So that means you can ram a stick in it and then put it up as a PA speaker. Of course, it is meant as a floor wedge, but you could run it on a stand. It's 38 by 30. You saw how big it is. Look it up, god damn it. Clocks in at 122 dB. Right here, I have it at a level that's fine for me, but there's also no band playing. And I've got the level at, I think, 1. It can get extremely loud. 400 watt is a lot, even if that's peak. The others are even louder. So this will absolutely work in any band situation. Doesn't say the weight here. Oh, 12 kilos. It's really not that heavy at all. Well, it's about 12 kilos heavy. But it's lighter than any guitar speaker you would have. I like that the this is where the hole is for the stand, and that the whole thing is recessed and you can actually grab it anywhere. This is all a ledge that you can run your hand through and grab it comfortably. Same way on the other side, the whole control panel is recessed, so nothing can happen to it, and you can literally grab it anywhere. You can even grab it on the little ledge there. There's a much bigger ledge here where you can get your whole hand in. So grabbing this and carrying it is super easy. We're gonna get into why that matters with some of the others, which are a little bit heavier and actually only have one access point. This is not rubber. This is literally just the wood. It's a little bit, I wouldn't want to say sharp. It's not going to hurt your hand, but it's not rubbery or anything. But it's a very cool way to grab this. Anyway, it's standing around any way you want and you can grab it. This has a dent because it's a floor model. So, how are we going to check these out? Well, with the guitar, obviously, and the Helix and a couple of presets that I made from clean to drive to whatever. And the biggest problem is, how are you going to hear a speaker? You're not. What I will experience in the room, I have to communicate to you. I have not, except just quick level check with this, plugged any of them in. So my reactions to them will be my first and honest reactions. The way that you can hear it, and at least compare them to each other, is by putting on headphones and listening to the binaural recording created with the 3DO binaural mic. So these are fake ears. I should put some earrings in here. That would be really funny. These are silicone ears. They absolutely simulate how you record, how your ear records audio with microphones in it. So if you actually put headphones on, you should be in the room with me. let's test this. Put on some headphones. I'll give you a couple seconds. Got it? Okay, so now I'm gonna walk around them and talk, and you see how realistic that actually is. So I'm on this side now, and I'm actually gonna move over here, and I'm gonna talk into this side. Hello, this is ASMR with Henning. I could chew on something, but I'm not. I could crisper something, but I'm not. I don't know I don't know what ASMR is. I really have no idea. But this is the cool thing. When I'm moving around and you're actually having headphones on, it sounds like you're standing in that position. And you can see that the position is almost my height. So it's a little bit shorter person. It's a Leslie sized position. So we're going to play some sounds. We're going to go to the next speaker, go through stats, play some sounds, go to the next speaker, play some sounds, get some stats, go to the next speaker, get some sounds, play some stats. No, you know, that's how it is. So this is 269. Here we go. Well, if you ask me, that kind of does the job already. It's light. It's actually very light. It's very small. It's way loud enough. This is as quiet as I can get it, actually. And you could almost afford 2 of them. I mean, I don't know you find it, but if you have 2, then you can run the whole damn thing in stereo, and then it gets really interesting. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we're now looking at the DB Technologies FMX12. Clocks in at 518. We're almost at twice the price. Is it twice the monitor? Now, 13.9 kilos, so 2 kilo more. It's a 12-inch instead of a 10-inch, but you wouldn't really see that because it's still a rather small speaker right here. I actually, from the chassis, wouldn't be able to tell that this is a bigger speaker. Same kind of tweeter. We have a maximum SPL of 128 instead of 122, so it's technically louder. 60 times 90 degree. It's got a Class D power amp. Peak power, that's where the difference is, 1200 watts, not 400. So technically a lot more power. Do you need that though? I don't know. I really can't tell you. Really? Handle at the bottom. So we can see that it's the opposite. Here the hole is on this side. And the panel, which is a rather small panel, is on the other side. And I'm a little bit bummed out about the panel because it only has XLR input, no quarter-inch, so you need at least a quarter-inch to XLR cable if your modeler doesn't have XLR output. There's a volume, and then there's a selector for what kind of signal you're pumping into. And apparently it is important whether that is live input, because live input probably has a lot more peaks and dynamics than a playback input, which is more compressed. So you usually set these up for live or playback. And then there's male voice, female voice, and a whole bunch of other things, which of course to us don't matter. Let's look at the bottom. Ah yeah, there's a handle at the bottom. Generally speaking, handle at the bottom, and then a handle here around the control panel, which is rather tight. So in terms of handling, the ANT speaker is just better. I'm sorry, you can grab the ANT speaker from anywhere you want. This one is a little bit limited, but it has a lot more power. Now let's play it. And of course, it's a 12 instead of a 10. Does that matter? We guitar players, of course, say, oh, 12 is great and 10 is not. But that's when we talk about guitar speakers, normal guitar speakers. Does it matter here? Interesting. So my first reaction is it's rounder. The other one had more bite in the upper frequencies. So it was actually more pleasant on the clean, a little bit duller on the drives. And there was a low frequency thump on the leads that I didn't like on the ANT or ANT, which is gone here. It's more balanced. I would say it's overall more balanced. I might want to give the Helix output a little bit of a bump in the treble now, but generally speaking, it's more balanced. On to the next one. So this one is the first one from RCF. It's actually a company, I have to admit, that I have never come across until they contacted me, and that is more of the high-end shit, and maybe that's why I didn't know it. It's the RCF ST12 SMA, so it's a 12-inch, clocking in at 958. We again almost jumping up twice the price. Now, again, no quarter-inch input. It has a quarter-inch through, as far as I can see. There's no programs, there's no nothing. There's a flat and a boost switch. You can do that. There's a level and a XLR input, XLR out, and I think it's well, I would assume that the quarter-inch out is an out and not an in. So what does it say? Digital power amp, 800 watts, 400 watts RMS, so probably 800 watts peak, which means technically less than the dB that we just had. Comes with a 12-inch RCA woofer and a 1.5-inch tweeter, so it's a little bit more tweeter. 90 times 60, I don't know, angle, DSP, something digital power amp, 129 dB max sound pressure level. Who cares? It's all too loud. 122, 128, 129, you're never gonna use that. Full range flat response, 45 to 20K, 45 Hertz to 20K, flat and boost mode, fast limiter, okay, so that could be good not to, kill the speaker. Baltic Birch comes with a, 35mm boxer flange. The big ass hole for the stand. It's got that, and it's got that right here. Looks more like a typical speaker. Nothing here. Everything on the back, including a big grill to cool it. My big gripe with it is, it's 18 kilos. You can see it's already bigger than the others. Not by much, but it is bigger. More of a traditional wedge. And it's got one handle, and that's here. It's a nice one, but there's one way to grab this. Can't grab it with two hands, and I'm a weakling. I need two hands. That's my back. So that's it. It's this one handle, which is rubberized. It's a metal handle, and it's got rubber. I like that. But it's just handling these around the house. This was my least favorite to move around. And I'm going to bitch about that. So now we're going to listen to it. Interesting. A little bit more definition. The clean, again, had the sparkle I'm looking for. So generally, I think even more balanced sound. The chugga chugga chug was nice. If I cranked up the volume more, it would really hit me. Worth twice the money? Tough to say. Now we're going to stick with RCF. We're going to go up $150. We're going to look at the RCF NX10 SMA active full range monitor. Now this little puppy I like because it is rather small, clocks in at 14.5 kilo, has a big ass nice handle that is also protecting the control panel right here. So you really can grab it there and nothing can really bump into the control panel because of it. There is, of course, the boxer flange, the big ass hole for the speaker right here. Again, it only has one place to hold it, which I really liked on the ASM, that you could hold it on any side. So having something up here in addition to this would be nice, but this is definitely a nice handle to grab it on. It says 400 watts, but that's RMS. So peak is 800, so it's just like the other one. 800 peak, 400 RMS, full range flat response, 40.5 kilo. What else does it say? It has a setting whether it's on the floor or up on a stand. Of course, it's got volume. It's got, we're back to being able to plug it in with 1/4 inch, but I'm sticking with the XLR now. And very important, it has a Speakon power connector, which of course it comes with, but obviously in a pro situation, this is a good idea because it can't rip out without you unlocking it. But in a pinch, will you have more of these cables? You just have to know to have a spare Speakon power cable with you if you have this thing. If you got $1,100 for a tiny little 10-inch speaker, then you should have that. I expect much from this little puppy, and we'll see. I really like how compact it is, and that at $1,100 you can expect that this is a rather good sound. It should be balanced, it should be defined. You might ask yourself, why is there so much delay on that lead sound? I'm deliberately doing this so I can hear the clarity and how much things muddy up with the Line 6 power caps. I couldn't even hear anymore what I was playing. So these sounds are specifically made to test certain things. Here, and I know you expect me to say this because it's a higher end speaker, but that chugger, I can of course get the level up, but I don't want to kill my ears. But it was really nice and defined. When I'm playing more complex chords, the harmonics don't muddle up. The cheaper speakers, you know what, will get you through the gig. If you want total clarity, Safeheart, what you doing? We're working here. If you want total clarity, then a little bit more money might do the trick. Now, if we go up another 300, I think, or 200, something like this, I will look it up, and go to the same model, same control panel, we're not going to go through all of that again, but in 12-inch, is that going to make a giant difference? Is it going to make a giant difference? Giant difference? He doesn't know. He doesn't care. Last but not least, $1,449, so we're at $350 more to go 12-inch. As far as I can see, it's kind of the same idea. Well, no, this says 700 watts. So it's 700 watts RMS, I guess. They don't say this here. The weight is 2 kilo more, it's 16.5. Other than that, the whole panel is the same. The handle is the same. It's the same design. It's the RCF NX12 SMA. And now, is that really going to make a big difference? first of all, it's bigger. Secondly, you have to carry more, 2 kilos. And do you really need 12 just because you're a guitar player and you tell yourself that you need 12 because guitar players have, well, 12. Let's find out. Let's set up the level.
And here we go.
Personally, if you're not sending bass drum, if you're not sending bass or any of the super low end stuff through it, I'm going to be honest, I don't think you need the 12. Now the NX10 clocking in at $1,100, okay, holy shit. But it's small, it's highly spec'd and built, got a cool control panel with all the stuff you want, but also it has the clarity, the volume, the peakability, and it just felt like the balance it's got the most balanced sound, and it's right. That would be the one I would go for. I wouldn't go for the 12 because it's bigger, it's more expensive, it's heavier. The NX10, awesome. Now the other one, the 12, before that for $1,000, I'm gonna be honest, I would spend the extra $150. There was the ST12 SMA. It's almost 4 kilos more. It was this thing here. Almost 4 kilos more. It only has the one handle in a spot that I didn't like. I just don't. That wouldn't be the one for me. Sound wise, also good. Now, you're probably looking at the cheaper ones, and I have to say, at $269, the Ant, with all its handles, I mean, easy to grab no matter what position it's in. It's on the floor. You're just gonna go grab it. It's got a 1/4-inch input line mic, live monitor, and playback switch. And it's $269. Now, that's a 10. Is there a big difference to the DB with the 12? Not sure I like the handles on the DB. It doesn't have a 1/4-inch input at all. It has the different settings. Do you need them? I don't know. I mean, it's almost twice as expensive as the ASM10. The SM10 had something in the low end. When I was picking, it had a little bit of a low end thump. Realistically, you can play any gig with a €269 speaker and be happy. You will hear yourself, it'll work. If you want the high end shit with the clarity, the response when you're attacking, I would go for the NX10. NX12 isn't bad, but to me, I don't see the reason, unless again at a gig you're using this as your normal speaker, as your monitor speaker in the band and all this, or you're also putting it on a stand where kick drum is in there and you have the bass and all these things in there. Do you really need the 12? I don't think you do. So NX10 for me would be the speaker of choice in this roundup. If money is no object, $269 will get you the ASM10. None of them, let me make this very, very clear, none of them will give you the feel of a head into a guitar amp. They sound good. I can hear myself. I can play the gig, and you love your modular, and that's good. Do not fool yourself into thinking that this will replace one of those heads into a cab, because it doesn't. Any 20 watt head, 20 watts? Yeah, any 20 watt head into a 112 guitar cab will sound more room filling. It will give you like when you're doing the chug, 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 that's going to really move you in. It's a different feel playing a guitar in the room than playing a modular through a PA speaker. It doesn't matter how good the PA speaker is, it's just not the same. But hopefully you know this. There is convenience in this setup. There's a Helix, there's a speaker, you plug him in, the Helix has got all your sounds, you go to the front of house and you're good to go. And that's great. You can't get that convenience in a real amp and then a mic or a torpedo and then pedal board and big speakers and all that. Blah, it's not convenient. But it gets you a feel and a sound that this setup cannot. Even, and I'm sorry RCF, with the most expensive, most amazing floor monitors, FRFR and all that bullshit, it will not replace the feeling of an amp and a cab in a room. However, if the convenience is what you need and you want to hear yourself super mega awesome, I have two favorites. Bang for the buck, the ASM10 is freaking amazing. And I like, again, the handles and all that stuff. And the NX10 from RCF is the high-end shit version of that. If you want to go for the 12, for me, the 10 is a kick-ass choice. 800 watt peak, come the fuck on. So that's it from here. This was an honest assessment of what they sent me. I've had a couple of others here that I commented on. I hope that helped. And now, please use my links below. That always helps. I was going to say animals at the end. There was an animal in the middle, but we're always going to put animals at the end.
Down, it's no surprise, there's Hollywood you never showed. There's Nifty C next to me, 6:30, she's played it